Confidence is not simply a surface-level trait. It is the foundation of how a woman is perceived and remembered. When a woman walks into a room with self-respect and quiet assurance, people feel her presence before she even speaks. This kind of magnetism does not come from being loud or flashy. It comes from an inner knowing that she has worth, and she doesn't need external validation to recognize it. True self-worth is magnetic because it communicates strength, stability, and security. People are drawn to those who do not chase approval, who are not swayed by every opinion around them, but instead stand firm in who they are. Imagine for a moment someone who constantly seeks affirmation, someone who bends over backwards just to gain attention or acceptance. At first, people may notice them, but in the long run, it creates a sense of desperation that is easily forgotten once the attention fades. Now contrast that with a woman who does not run after approval, who respects herself enough to walk away from situations that do not serve her, and who communicates through her body language, tone, and actions that she knows she is enough. That woman remains etched in the mind because people are always intrigued by strength and mystery. They wonder what makes her so grounded, so sure, so radiant without needing anyone else's stamp of validation. Self-worth is like an invisible aura. It cannot be bought and it cannot be faked for long. It is cultivated through years of self-awareness, choices, and boundaries. Boundaries are a key part of this magnetism. When a woman knows how to say no, when she does not settle for less than what she deserves, when she refuses to tolerate disrespect, she sets herself apart. The ability to walk away from anything that does not align with her values or her dignity makes her unforgettable because it communicates strength and independence. People admire those who cannot be easily swayed, and they remember them because such strength is rare. Another aspect of true self-worth is the absence of desperation. Desperation repels, while calm assurance attracts. When someone is desperate for love, attention, or validation, they give off energy that feels heavy, clingy, and overwhelming. But when someone operates from self-worth, they exude lightness. They are not chasing, they are choosing. They are not begging, they are inviting. That kind of energy stays with people long after an interaction is over, because it sparks admiration and curiosity. Confidence born from self-worth also reflects in how a woman carries herself physically. Her posture, eye contact, and the way she speaks all reflect the inner beliefs she holds. A woman who walks with her head high, who makes eye contact without fear, who speaks with clarity and conviction, is someone who remains memorable. Even if her words are simple, the energy with which she delivers them imprints itself in the mind of others. People may forget the exact conversation, but they will remember how they felt in her presence. That feeling of strength and certainty becomes a lingering thought, drawing others back to her memory over and over again. Another important element of true magnetism is authenticity. Self-worth allows someone to be unapologetically themselves without fear of judgment. When a woman embraces her uniqueness, her quirks, her strengths, and even her imperfections, she becomes unforgettable because no one else can replicate her. Trying to copy trends or mold oneself into what others expect only makes someone blend in with the crowd. But standing tall in authenticity sets one apart, and that uniqueness is what remains engraved in someone's thoughts. The connection between confidence and respect is also profound. A woman who respects herself demands respect from others without even asking for it. People naturally treat her according to the standard she sets. If she believes she deserves kindness, loyalty, and honor, she attracts those things into her life. The man who encounters her cannot help but think about her because she sets a standard that not only challenges him, but also inspires him. She becomes unforgettable not just because of who she is, but because of how she makes him want to rise to meet her standard. Furthermore, self-worth communicates that a woman's happiness is not dependent on anyone else. This independence of spirit is incredibly powerful. It signals that she does not need anyone to complete her because she is already whole. When someone realizes they cannot make her happy, but instead can only contribute to her already fulfilling life, it makes her stand out in their mind. She becomes someone rare, someone not looking to be saved, but someone who is already thriving. That independence combined with confidence leaves a lasting impression that is hard to forget. Confidence rooted in self-worth also manifests in consistency. It is not about confidence only when things are easy or when the spotlight is on. It is about how a woman carries herself in both good times and challenges. When she maintains her dignity even under pressure, when she refuses to compromise her values even in tough circumstances, when she stays calm and graceful even when tested. That resilience leaves a deep imprint on those who witness it. Strength in adversity is one of the most unforgettable qualities anyone can have, and beyond appearance or external success, self-worth shines most brightly in the way a woman treats herself. How she speaks to herself, the habits she cultivates, the way she invests in her growth. These things radiate outwards. A woman who values herself enough to nurture her body, mind, and soul becomes a woman who naturally draws attention and admiration. When she invests in her personal development, builds her skills, learns, grows, and continues to evolve, she becomes unforgettable because she is not stagnant. She is a living example of growth and empowerment. At its core, magnetism is not about manipulation, games, or strategies. It is about the deep, unshakable belief that one is valuable, capable, and worthy of love and respect without needing to prove it. That belief radiates outwards, and it is impossible to ignore. People may meet countless others in their lives, but the ones who truly stand out, the ones who stay in the mind long after they leave, are those who live with this kind of self-respect and confidence. When someone recalls a woman with true self-worth, they remember the way she carried herself, the way she refused to settle, the way she inspired them without trying, and the way her very presence communicated power and grace. That memory stays alive not because of what she did to impress, but because of who she was, authentic, strong, and whole. And that is why true magnetism always begins with self-worth. Independence and purpose are among the most powerful qualities that make a woman unforgettable, because they create an aura of strength and admiration that lingers long after she has left the room. Independence is not about shutting others out or rejecting love and companionship. It is about cultivating a life so rich, so full, and so meaningful that her identity is not defined by another person. It is about having dreams, goals, and passions that drive her forward, and it is about the ability to create joy without waiting for someone else to provide it. When a woman radiates this sense of self-sufficiency, she becomes impossible to ignore because she is living proof that fulfillment comes from within. A woman with independence does not ask permission to dream. She does not wait for circumstances to be perfect or for someone else to validate her choices. She creates her own opportunities, she chooses her own path, and she builds her own happiness from the ground up. This kind of strength is magnetic because it communicates that she is not in a relationship to fill a void or to be rescued, but rather to share her life from a place of wholeness. This changes the dynamic completely. Instead of being dependent, she becomes inspiring because her energy says, "I am here not because I need you to complete me, but because I choose to walk beside you as I continue to build my vision." That choice makes her unforgettable because it sets her apart from those who live only through the reflections of others. Purpose amplifies this independence even further. When a woman knows why she wakes up in the morning, when she is driven by something greater than herself, she carries a fire that lights up everything around her. Purpose may be tied to her career, her art, her passion projects, or even her mission to make a difference in the lives of others. What matters is that she has a reason for being that transcends appearances or surface-level validation. A woman with purpose is remembered not for what she wears or how she looks, but for the way she makes people feel, and for the way she moves forward with determination. Men, like everyone else, are deeply impacted by energy. When they encounter someone who has direction, who speaks with clarity about her goals, who refuses to drift aimlessly, they feel drawn to her presence because purpose is rare. Most people are caught up in the noise of the world, chasing trends or waiting for luck to shape their destiny. But the woman with purpose does not wait, she builds. That quality alone makes her unforgettable because it sparks both admiration and curiosity. She becomes the one who cannot be ignored because she is not just existing. She is creating, leading, and inspiring. Independence also creates healthy space in relationships. Instead of clinging or demanding constant attention, a woman with her own life allows natural longing to grow. She has her passions, her hobbies, her circle of friends, her goals, and her commitments. She does not drop everything the moment someone calls. This balance is powerful because it ensures she is never taken for granted. When time is spent together, it feels intentional and meaningful, not out of neediness or obligation. That space allows the other person to reflect, to miss her, and to think about her even more, because absence has the power to intensify admiration. Another powerful aspect of independence is resilience. Life will always bring challenges, but the way a woman responds to those challenges determines how she is remembered. A woman who can stand back up after failure, who can rebuild after setbacks, who refuses to give up when circumstances get hard, inspires a kind of respect that no superficial quality ever could. People think about her not because she demanded attention, but because she showed strength when others would have crumbled. That resilience becomes a story that plays over in the mind, a reminder of courage and determination that makes her unforgettable. Purpose-driven women also elevate those around them. When she talks about her dreams, she does not just talk about what she wants to achieve for herself. She also talks about how her actions can uplift others, create change, or leave a legacy. That expansive vision makes her unforgettable because she is not focused solely on herself. Her purpose becomes bigger than her own life, and that is what makes her impact lasting. People remember those who inspire them to think bigger, to rise higher, and to see beyond their own limitations. Independence and purpose also foster mystery. A woman who is fully engaged in her own life, who has layers to her personality, who continues to grow and evolve, cannot be easily figured out. Every time someone thinks they know her completely, she surprises them with a new dream, a new accomplishment, or a new side of herself. This keeps curiosity alive. The mind is wired to think repeatedly about things it cannot fully solve, and a woman who is endlessly evolving ensures she stays on someone's mind. Instead of being predictable, she becomes the woman people want to know more about, the one they cannot stop wondering about, because she is constantly blooming into new versions of herself. It is also important to understand that independence and purpose do not make someone cold or unreachable. On the contrary, they make her even more magnetic because they show balance. She is capable of love, but not dependent on it. She is open to partnership, but not defined by it. She welcomes companionship, but not at the cost of losing herself. This balance of strength and vulnerability is unforgettable because it is both rare and inspiring. Independence communicates power, but purpose communicates vision. When both qualities are combined, they create a woman who is both grounded and driven, both stable and dynamic. People cannot help but think about her because she is not static. She is moving, and in her movement she inspires others to move too. She becomes the kind of woman who lingers in thoughts not because of what she demands, but because of the way she challenges others to grow, to dream, and to believe that more is possible. In every culture, in every generation, the people who are remembered most are those who lived with purpose. Their names endure, their stories inspire, and their legacies remain. On a personal level, the same principle applies. A woman who lives with purpose, who refuses to waste her life waiting for someone else to define it, becomes unforgettable in the hearts and minds of those she meets. She is admired not for perfection, but for determination, not for being flawless, but for being driven. Independence and purpose ensure that her worth does not fluctuate with the presence or absence of another person. She remains whole, whether she is single or in a relationship, whether she is celebrated or overlooked, whether she is winning or rebuilding. That constancy makes her magnetic because it shows that her foundation cannot be shaken. People think about her because she stands as an anchor, someone who inspires confidence and security simply by existing in her truth. Ultimately, independence and purpose are not qualities that need to be announced. They are felt. They radiate through the way she speaks, the way she lives, and the choices she makes. She does not have to try to be unforgettable. She naturally becomes unforgettable because her life itself is a testimony of strength and vision. That kind of presence stays with people forever, and that is why a woman with independence and purpose becomes the one who cannot be forgotten. Emotional depth is one of the most powerful forces that keeps a person unforgettable because it penetrates beyond the surface and connects directly with the soul. Beauty may capture attention, charm may spark interest, but what lingers in the heart and mind is the way someone makes another feel. When a woman carries emotional depth, she becomes far more than an image or a fleeting memory. She becomes an experience, and experiences are what stay imprinted forever. Emotional depth means that she does not just exist on the surface level of conversation and interaction. but instead has the ability to connect with people in ways that awaken their emotions, their dreams, their fears, and their hopes. The first quality of emotional depth is presence. To be present is to listen with more than the ears, it is to listen with the heart. Many people are quick to speak, quick to respond, and quick to give advice, but very few are capable of sitting in silence and truly absorbing another person's words. A woman who can do this becomes unforgettable because people rarely feel deeply heard. When someone feels understood without judgment, when their emotions are received without interruption, they develop a bond with the listener that is stronger than anything superficial. The man who experiences this presence will find himself thinking about her long after the conversation ends, replaying the way she made him feel valued and accepted. Another dimension of emotional depth is empathy. Empathy is not pity, and it is not sympathy. It is the ability to step into another's shoes and feel their experience as if it were one's own. A woman who embodies empathy connects with others on a level that transcends words. She does not dismiss emotions or brush them aside. Instead, she validates them, honors them, and holds space for them. This makes her unforgettable because she becomes associated with safety, comfort, and understanding. When life becomes overwhelming, the thought of her brings a sense of calm because her empathy was genuine, and genuine compassion is never forgotten. Emotional depth also reveals itself in vulnerability. Many hide behind masks of perfection, trying to appear flawless to the world, but perfection creates distance, not intimacy. Vulnerability, on the other hand, builds bridges. When a woman is open about her struggles, her lessons, and her humanity, she becomes relatable. She shows that strength is not about never falling, but about always rising again. This vulnerability makes her unforgettable because it encourages authenticity in others. People remember the ones who gave them permission to be real, to feel, to break, and to heal. That kind of bond cannot be erased from memory. Authenticity is deeply tied to emotional depth. To be authentic is to strip away the layers of pretense and to live in alignment with one's true self. A woman who is authentic does not pretend to be someone she is not for approval. She does not water down her opinions or suppress her feelings to be more likable. Instead, she shows up exactly as she is, and that honesty is magnetic. People may not always agree with her, but they will always respect her, and respect is a foundation of remembrance. The man who encounters her authenticity will not be able to forget her because she stands apart in a world filled with masks and performances. She becomes the standard by which he measures truth in others. Emotional depth is also expressed through inspiration. A woman with depth does not only listen and empathize, she also uplifts. She challenges others to see their potential, to rise above their fears, and to step into their greatness. She becomes a mirror that reflects not just who someone is but who they could be. This kind of inspiration leaves a lasting mark because it attaches her memory to hope and possibility. Every time he takes a step toward becoming better, he thinks of the one who first sparked that fire. She becomes intertwined with his growth, and that ensures she remains in his thoughts. Mystery is another dimension of emotional depth. A woman who reveals herself in layers keeps curiosity alive. She is not an open book all at once, nor is she a closed book forever. She allows others to discover her over time, to explore her complexities, and to realize that there is always more to learn about her. This sense of endless discovery keeps her in the mind of others because the mind is drawn to what it cannot fully unravel. Predictability fades quickly, but depth, with its infinite layers, lingers. Every time he thinks he has understood her, she shows a new side, a new strength, a new insight, and that unpredictability makes her unforgettable. One of the most profound aspects of emotional depth is the ability to create emotional experiences. Words may be forgotten, but feelings are remembered. When a woman makes someone feel alive, inspired, safe, or deeply moved, she attaches her memory to those emotions. Long after she is gone, those feelings resurface whenever he remembers her. It may be the way she laughed with genuine joy, the way she looked into his eyes and saw past the walls, or the way she spoke words that resonated with his soul. These emotional imprints cannot be erased because the heart does not forget what it has truly felt. Depth also manifests in patience and understanding. In a world where people are quick to judge and even quicker to give up, a woman who is patient stands out. She does not rush others to fit into her timeline. She allows them the space to grow, to stumble, to learn. This patience is unforgettable because it communicates acceptance. Acceptance is one of the deepest human needs, and when someone feels it, they are bound to remember the one who gave it to them. She becomes the thought that lingers in moments of insecurity because her patience once soothed those insecurities. The combination of emotional depth and authenticity creates a magnetic presence that cannot be ignored. Physical attraction may fade, but emotional impact endures. When someone carries both qualities, they become unforgettable not because they tried to be, but because they touched the soul. Depth ensures that she is not just another passing face in the crowd. She becomes a memory that stirs emotions every time it resurfaces. Lastly, emotional depth requires courage. It takes courage to be authentic in a world that rewards conformity. It takes courage to be vulnerable in a world that celebrates masks. It takes courage to connect deeply when superficiality is easier. This courage is what makes her unforgettable because it sets her apart. People admire bravery, but they remember the kind of bravery that touches them personally. The bravery to feel, to connect, to inspire, and to love deeply without fear. This is why emotional depth and authenticity make someone unforgettable. They turn fleeting moments into timeless memories. They transform ordinary interactions into profound connections. And they ensure that long after words have been spoken and time has passed, the thought of her remains, echoing in the mind and heart without end.